I wanted to take a couple minutes today and talk just briefly about long exposure photography, particularly of moving water. I love shooting waterfalls, and I really love the smooth, silky look of moving water over longer exposures. There are a couple things to keep in mind, though, when you're doing that type of shot, and that's what I wanted to address here in just a few minutes this afternoon, or I guess still this morning. On my screen are two shots taken with the exact same camera, a Nikon D610, the exact same lens, a Nikon 35mm f2, and shot from the exact same location near Tumwater Falls Park in Olympia, Washington. The difference between the two shots is the first one was shot at f16 and was a 22-second exposure. The second shot, this one, is shot at f5.6 and was a 2.2-second exposure. So even though they're the same camera, same lens, same location, they are, as you're going to see here in just a moment, a very different image from each other. And you might be able to see a little bit of that actually even in these smaller thumbnail versions. But let me bring this one up, and I'm zoomed in at 100%. And this is the f16 22-second exposure. And you'll notice in the waterfall section, this is Upper Tumwater Falls near the old Olympia Brewery. And the water here has lost almost all definition. It's just a completely smooth mass, really, for lack of a better term. Now, a lot of people like that, and again, everything I'm talking about here really is about preference. So there's no right or wrong answer. But if I switch now to the f5.6 2.2-second exposure, you'll notice that the flowing water has a lot more detail in it. Not only do you see some of the undulations a lot better, what you really see difference is the contrast there in the flowing water. And it's kind of showing itself as those white lines that you can see. And personally, my preference is I like these slightly shorter exposures for things like waterfalls, rivers. Different matter when you get to like an ocean or a harbor. But anyway, the whole purpose of this was to kind of show the difference between very tight aperture and a very long exposure, a much more open aperture, much shorter exposure, and the fact that these two different shooting styles, or aperture settings, I guess I should say, result in two very different images. Which is the better image? That's entirely up to the person that's making it. You shoot what you want to shoot. But I would recommend getting out and experimenting and playing around with some long exposure water photography. It doesn't really take a whole lot of extra gear. In fact, both of these shots were made without any type of ND filters. These were just pure lens. It was night, or becoming night. It was right at sunset, so I had the benefit of being able to make longer exposures for that. But really all you need is a tripod, a camera, and the ability to do somewhat manual exposure. You want to be able to set your aperture and set your shutter speed to be able to do this. Well, anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this very brief little screencast, kind of highlighting the differences between fast water or moving water photography with long exposure. Take care, and we will talk to you again soon.